Okay. Look, another good day of practice, I thought. A lot of good situational work we got there. A little bit in the first half, 2-minute, which was good to see. And we'll start turning our focus over to the Chargers starting this afternoon.
Yeah, just overall, how do you feel about the work you guys got done in this camp and kind of where things stand?
Yeah, I feel like it's been pretty good. I really do. I mean, I think the one thing I know is that our guys are competing extremely hard out here every day, and we're getting better. We still have a lot of things we got to clean up, but overall, I think it's been a pretty good camp to this point.
Is the usage of music today for crowd prep, sort of noise preparation?
Yeah. So just working on some of our silent cadence stuff. It's beneficial to both sides. Obviously when we're in the dome, it's beneficial for our defense, in terms of the communication in those situations. And then obviously when we go on the road, our offense has to operate in a noisy environment. So, and look, I thought it was, for the first time in a silent cadence, I thought it was pretty clean.
Is Eric still handling most of the line calls and stuff like that, or is James taking on more of that?
Yeah, look, there's a process that we go through. I'd rather not get into who's handling, all the calls and everything, but there's certainly a process that we go through.
This final preseason game, I guess, how important is it to the overall evaluation, from the roster spots?
Yeah, well, I think it's important. There's still a lot of roster spots that are up for grabs, and we're still going through the evaluation process. So I think for a number of guys, it's going to be extremely important.
Coach, could you talk about, Eric McCoy spoke about, it's the business aspect of trimming the roster down to 53, just your first year as Saints head coach. How is that process for you personally when it comes time for, talking to those guys?
Well, look, it's always a difficult thing, but it is part of this business, in the National Football League. And so, we're at 80 guys right now. We got to get down to 53. We can have 16 on our practice squad, and so it's just the nature of the business, and it's part of what we do.
Dennis, when you're weighing that, is your approach for this last preseason game, do you want to see more of that evaluation of those players, or do you want to see more of that prep towards the guys that you do have that you know that you're pretty sure about playing in that, playing before that regular season you've got a couple of weeks?
Well, yeah, I mean, look, ultimately, the number one thing we're dealing with is trying to make sure we have the right 53 right now, but certainly there's always the forward thought process of being ready for the regular season opener. So there's a little bit of both of that going on. But yeah, I think the primary goal is to make sure we have the right 53.
So Dennis, you think you've seen enough for Jameis without having to play a series?
Bobby, I'm not telling anybody who's playing and who's not playing, but yeah, look, I think the last couple of days he's looked pretty good out here, which has been really encouraging. All right, thanks, guys.
Taka, how do you feel just going into Friday's game and less than 20 days away from game one of the regular season?
I'm excited. I'm always excited to get another chance to get out there on the field and put out, another good impression. Get a chance to just go and compete against, somebody else. We practice against the same guys for 4 weeks or whatever it may be. So it's always good to get a new face, new challenge, and everything like that. To go out there and compete and try to get a win.
Is there something on kind of like your boxes that you want to check before game one of the regular season, or something that you've really been honing in on this week?
Of course, just continue to improve on every facet of my game. The run stop and everything like that. Get more even back fluid on my pass rush and everything. Putting it all together to put a complete game out there. So we got the coaching and everything like that to kind of put that all together. And then it's such good chemistry we got in this team. It kind of all pushes us to bring it to the next level.
Taco, how do you see this defense rounding into form as a whole? And when you come in as a guy who's new, how do you assimilate yourself into a system that's already kind of up and running?
Yeah, we got a lot of talent in this defense from the front end, the back end, everywhere we go. It's talent, which is always great to be around. The best thing I say is the best friend of a pass rusher is good coverage. So we got great coverage guys, great pass rushers to get to the passer, and like I said, it just pushes us all to get better. Me as a new guy, like I said, I just come and try to provide anything I can to help this team out in any facet, any way I can, and try to provide that extra boost, get some more wins and help us get wins on Sunday.
What's Cam Jordan like?
Cam's he's a jokester, man. He's a great jokester, but when it's time to get to business, like he does a great job of that too. So he knows how to flip it on, flip it off, have fun, but also get some great work in and like I said, he's a good leader too. He knows what to say, when to say it, and then just, pushing his guys. Knowing when to bring everybody together. No kind of extension of a coach almost of getting us all together.
Have you gone to advice for anything specific?
No, I always just try to pick up off Cam anyway. He's a great veteran. He's been doing this for at the top of the game for a long time. When you have double-digit sacks for so long, and then there's always, like I said, any little tricks that anything, little keys that he picks off of, I try to ask him or just question him on different things like that he can give me and try to add it to my game.
Does he overwhelm you? We see him dancing all the time.
Nah. Like I said, Cam's just a funny guy, man. He's a jokester, but like I said, I love it. He's a great guy just to talk to, be around, and like I said, a great leader for the D-line especially.
How's your experience been so far with Ryan Nielsen?
Oh, I love it. Like I said, he's definitely helped my game tremendously, cleaning up my hands, my technique, everything like that on the run stopping wise. And like I said, I love it. Just the type of coach he is, how he coaches us, what he has us doing. And like I said, it all pushes us to all get better and come together as a D-line unit, especially.
Is there anything that you would say is unique about his approach with your experience with other D-line coaches throughout your career?
Yeah, of course. I feel like every team has always been different. Every D-line coach is different. But just how technical he is and everything like that is definitely a little bit different. But it also, like I said, it pushes you to be right and be basically push you to that greatness level. So, like I said, it's something that I love and love that I got a chance to come here and work with him on and improve my game, especially. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
It's funny.
Darren, you had some big standout moments yesterday. How's it feel to be? How do you feel you have caught on so far in terms of picking up the defense and being able to be that impact player?
Yeah, it's coming along. Obviously, I think all great things take its time. So just me kind of really just being patient with it. But I got some good coaches, good teammates, and so I do feel myself coming alive in the defense, so to speak. Just understanding it, from a scheme standpoint, and where I'm supposed to be, where my teammates are. So it's definitely picking up.
How close do you feel like that is to just kind of being like fully comfortable?
Well, I guess we'll see. I think practice is much different from games, and games is much different from the big moments. You know what I mean? So I think I got some good guys I can lean on. Obviously Malcolm was at practice today, so he'll be one of those guys that I lean on. But yeah, I think it's all about making plays, but just understanding where you fit in the scheme.
Is there going to be a little extra weight on Friday, kind of walking into the dome as a Saints player, in James for the first time?
No, I don't really consider it weight. It's a great moment. So just really just trying my best to enjoy it. For my family, friends, and then mostly importantly, just trying to go out there and make plays and win a game.
You always hear you guys talk about the trust factor. Is that the biggest adjustment? Trusting yourself, where you're supposed to be trusting your teammates because these new teammates.
Yeah, I play defense, and so when I get it wrong, it's a touchdown. It's a big play, a big game. So I think those things are important. Just constantly building that chemistry, with your teammates. I think just me and Marcus being on the field at the same time, that's helped. So the more and more guys we get, in our unit on the field, I think it'll help progress all of us really.
Tyron, how much time do you need to play in this preseason game, or how much do you feel like you need in terms of just snaps?
Oh, it doesn't really matter for me. I would like to go out there, run around, get a sweat in, hopefully get my hand on the ball or two. Obviously you want to be ready for, really when it counts in September. So, obviously Friday will be a start in that direction.
Tyron, have you given advice to guys like Dejon Dixon and Kirk Leary who are from here, kind of young and just about?
Nah, I think mostly, I think for me, I just try my best to lead by example. But those guys haven't really asked me, a bunch of questions.
Tyron, have you learned anything about the talent on this defense that you didn't realize when you first came here?
Oh man, it's a talented unit. I think I played, on some great defenses. Whether it be the secondary or the D line. I think this team, I think all three levels, we have real impact players, at key positions. So I think that'll serve us well, going into the season, late in the season. If we make the playoffs, going into the Super Bowl.
What are some of the things that Paulson Adebo does well that stand out to you this season?
Oh man, he does everything well. I've been around some of the best cornerbacks in the world, and he reminds me of him. From his preparation. Obviously, he's not Patrick Peterson as far as the athlete, but I think the preparation, the attention to detail, just understanding the scheme, like he's what you want, in a cornerback.
Tyron, I saw you. I think it was a video message to the St. Aug for pep rally. I think it was a St. Aug pep rally. Could you just talk about being able to do stuff like that and kind of what your message was to?
Oh yeah, man. That was big. Obviously, for the St. Aug guys to have the opportunity to play in that game and not just represent St. Aug and all their alumni, but to represent Louisiana as well. It's a big deal. It's a big moment. There are one or two schools that was chosen to go up there and play, and so just really hoping and wishing those guys can just go out there, really just give it their all, try their best, and hopefully bring back a win.
And on the football side of things with the preseason game, being Friday, I know it's a tough conversation, but when it comes to roster cuts, what advice can you give to some of these younger guys who are on the bubble fighting for a spot? Yeah,
man, just do all you can. Try your best. Sometimes our best isn't good enough, but like I would try to remind them, I've been on 4 teams. There's 31 other teams out there, and all of them are looking. And so, you can't just get caught up in trying to, make this right. It could be an impact on it.
What's your sense of, okay, yeah, just now that you've gotten to kind of defend him in practice, James Winston in the way he's coming back from injury and throwing the ball?
He got a mean out route. It's like real gas, when he throws it. That's probably from his baseball days, but it's good to just see him running around, man. Obviously, he can make every throw, but when he does get out of the pocket and run around, and yesterday he slid, and we all kind of held our breath, and he popped right back up, and so I think all those things are good for the team, good for our spirit. Yep, appreciate it. Thank you.
games. The first question is the obvious one. How do you feel physically?
I feel a lot better. I've been getting better every single day. Like, it felt good to really be able to, yesterday I could run a little bit more and move around a little bit more because that's part of my game, you know, so I'm getting better every day.
Trying to say, when you slid, everybody kind of held their breath. Was that part of what you...
I got to be able to do that, you know, so I was like, man, what better time to do it than now, right? So I had to practice it, and plus RC, he been killing me because I told him, like, hey, man, I'm working on a slide, and I'm bringing back my baseball days. He put on a little note, Jackie Robinson. I was like, thank you. If I can slide and steal home like Jackie Robinson, I'm doing good.
Jameis, do you need to play Friday?
I would love to. I would love to play. Just in terms of like to get out there where the bullets are really flying and get out there and compete with the guys. You know, I love the pregame experience just to get a chance to look in everybody's eyes, dap people up, and really get that whole holistic team bonding part in the beginning of the game. That's one of my favorite parts of football. It's just that. It's that pre-battle moment. So I would love to experience that before we really kick things off.
So you have no concern about your foot?
Would you be fine with not playing Friday if the first time you got an opportunity, it's that first game in Atlanta? Would you be fine if you don't play Friday?
Well, I'm going to do my best to be prepared regardless. Whatever the head coach decides, I'm going to be ready to play. I'm definitely going to be ready to go. In regards to your question, yeah, my foot is literally getting better every single day. And it's not like a major injury. It's just in terms of overcompensating because I got the knee, you know, and we don't want anything else to spring up just from me, you know, using one side more.
Jameis, how are you a different quarterback today than you were your last game with the Buccaneers?
Well, I mean, I'm a different quarterback today than I was with my last game with the Saints. I take a lot of pride into trying to and preparing to get better every single year, especially when it comes to knowing the offense like the back of my hand, knowing where my get outs are, knowing how I can take advantage of the accessories that I have around me, understanding the game plan, understanding my offensive line, knowing everyone's strengths and weaknesses, and being more honest with myself about my strengths and weaknesses. So I'm consistently, every practice, every day, I'm evaluating myself to get better.
But do you feel like you've made the most growth in some of the stuff you were just talking about?
I think just understanding my teammates, understanding what everyone can do and what I can do in any given situation. That's been the biggest thing.
You talked about how do you feel your connection with Alvin Kamara has grown, and what do you make of him as a player?
Oh, well, he's definitely the best running back I ever played with in my life. So, I mean, does that speak a lot? I mean, I played with Dalvin Cook. I played with Devontae Freeman. I had Dalvin as a freshman. I had Freeman for 1 year, but, I mean, Alvin is pretty good. You know, he's excellent. I just love how intelligent he is and how he has great awareness for the defense and finding those open spots in any given moment.
DA was saying the other day just like how he's doing more of the dirty work, and when a guy like that's doing it, how it can affect the whole team. From a player perspective, when you see him kind of, you know, putting his helmet in there and doing some of that stuff, like how does it inspire you guys?
Well, he's a leader, and everyone looks up to him as a captain of this team and as a leader of this team. So when you see guys like him, Cam, DeMario, you know, Eric McCoy, really banging heads and being full speed at practice, Mark, even veteran guys, when you see those guys giving all they got as a head coach, you know, it allows everyone else to buy into what you're doing. And we all bought into what DA is bringing to this team.
Jameis, have you gained any new impressions on Mike Thomas now that you guys have actually been able to work together as much as you finally have?
No really new impressions. I always knew he was one of the best receivers that ever played this game. I mean, the stats speak for that. But I just think getting a chance to connect with him, getting a chance to be around the guy he is, I think the biggest thing I learned is that he was really football smart. Right, and he loves his game so much that he, even off the field, he's doing everything in his power to make sure he's the best football player on the field. So I think us growing in that relationship, you know, spending some time with him away from the facility has really opened up my eyes to who he is, not just as a football player, but who he is as a man too.
Did you get more of a chance to do that this offseason, since he was obviously around a lot more?
Absolutely. I think, you know, we were both open to each other more this offseason because we were expecting to be working together. Last offseason, it was a little, you know, we didn't know
who the quarterback was going to be, so it was kind of like we were split in between, and the year before that, it was Drew's show, so I really wasn't going to be flying out to LA to run routes with Mike, that went look right to Drew. So, I think we're slowly but surely, man, we getting together and we're going to have a beautiful connection.
You talked about overcompensating because of the knee, so would you say you're not mentally or physically fully trusted B yet? You talked about
No, I didn't say that at all. I trust my knee wholeheartedly. I don't want to put any pressure on my knee or other body parts for overcompensating with my foot. So rest is a big part of recovery and healing, so I can be fully ready. And when I'm on the field, I'm not thinking about anything besides executing and leading the Saints to a victory. Injury is not even in my mind.
How's your chemistry with Chris Olave?
I think everybody's chemistry with Chris Olave is really good. He has a way to get open, and he's a tremendous young receiver.
James, you mentioned the off season that like your intermediate accuracy was something you wanted to work on. How do you feel you've improved in that regard, and like what specific things this summer y'all did?
The specific thing with that is just like you see us doing those little targets.
Right. That's what I was thinking of.
I think implementing more of that, even though I gotta get better at those targets. But I think the biggest thing is giving the receivers a ball that they can transition with, opposed to giving them a ball that like kind of brings them down. Like giving them a ball like coaches always say, put the ball in front. Allowing them to be able to get extra yardage beyond just the throw and the catch. Just kind of making it easier for them to get upfield and get that yak.
Is it more like you wanted to improve those throws specifically, like you said, or is it also that you wanted to, in your mind, like mentally, check down to those types of throws than maybe like trying to go with the big throw?
Or again, it's just this offense. This offense, we like to attack teams laterally. Most of my offenses, we were always vertical threats, heavy play action, throw the ball down the field. But in this offense, having guys like Alvin, having guys like Mike and Chris Olave and Deontay Harris and Jarvis, guys who can extend plays with the ball in their hands, giving them a nice, accurate ball for them to transition and get upfield. You throw a quick pass, it's 5 yards, but those 5-yard passes can turn into 11, 8-yard gains just by the location of the ball.
What about outside throwing coaches? Have you consulted any of them?
Well, I got one throwing coach. I have a plan every offseason of what I want to work on. And this year, probably because of my knee, like I was able to work the intermediate game because I wasn't able to drive the ball down the field as much. I've always was confident in throwing the ball down the field. I definitely wanted to improve on my intermediate accuracy.
Janice, Andy Dalton has spoken about like throwing the ball to Taysom Hill and what that's like, and how he understands that position more because he's played quarterback. What's it like from your perspective throwing it?
Well, I think when you have talent like Tace on your team, you're always winning. Like and he said it on the head. Like when you got Taysom, like he knows where you want him to be. He knows what type of ball he's even getting. From that standpoint, just his understanding of the game and who he is as a complete football player helps us in every position, really in every room too.
Obviously, you're working with the noise out there today. How did some of that nonverbal stuff go, and how has the communication changed this year without Teron in terms of the O-line kind of?
It went well. I believe Teron did a great job of developing E. Like Eric has done a tremendous job, and when James is in there, James does a great job of communicating. That left tackle in the center, really the tackle to the sideline and the center are going to be your most vocal guys in terms of letting you know the down and distance and letting you know the situation when we get up in the huddle. And I know E is like his football IQ is off the charts, and I trust him wholeheartedly with how things go in terms of communication. I think it's great that we get the chance to practice that and get in that environment right now before the season starts, because we plan on being in a lot of high environment games.
Do you feel like you are on the way to something special before? I mean, you are on the highest quarterback rating of your career, and then the injury happens.
Yeah, every day I'm really visualizing how I can make the best of this day. And last year, even though it was, it was an improvement, I can't wait to step back on the field and compete some more. Because one thing I know, that I would not take this opportunity for granted ever again. And I'm just grateful to have that chance to go out there and stress some people, throw some touchdowns, win some football games, and keep y'all smiling, keep everybody smiling. I love good days, right? And if I have a bad day, right, get better from that and continue to be resilient and persevere. Nothing is going to kind of hurt me, or nothing is going to deter me from my thinking, because I'm an optimistic guy. I love challenges. I just love winning way more.
You actually talked about baseball earlier today. I go back about a decade ago, I believe you said baseball is a game of failure. And you can't dwell on mistakes, you have to move on to the next play.
Yeah.
Is that a part of what you're saying there?
Yeah, absolutely. Because baseball, you go 1 for 3, it's a good game for you. So just being able to eliminate the negatives and focus on the positives and build on the positives, and do that over and over and over and over again. If you finish your career with your ratio being 1 for 3, you're in the Hall of Fame. Right, so I just want my touchdown to interception ratio to be where it needs to be, but I want my winning ratio to be where it needs to be, and then I know that this team will be where it needs to be.
Is this the most complete team you've ever been on?
Yeah. I believe we got a lot of great pieces. Obviously, I play with tremendous talent, at Tampa, but I believe this team has a lot of talent, and I believe we can do some great things. But actions speak louder than words, and I'm pretty sure everyone in this building would say that we want to do our talking on the field.
Who was the throwing coach? The throwing coach, who was it?
The throwing coach?
Yeah, you said you worked with a throwing coach.
Yeah.
Who was it?
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
Yeah, all right. All right, thank you.
Thanks, James. Thanks, James.
Did you guys have Jarvis up here already? I saw Honey Badger. I was just seeing. All right, it's not an LSU thing today. Great.
Cam, do you remember when Dennis Allen came back after he was in Oakland? Like,
do I remember after going through 4 D coordinators to get to D coordinator number 5 or 6 for me? No,
yes.
I don't remember.
Yes, I'm sure you don't remember it. But I guess, do you remember, like, when he became available, were people in this building all sure he was going to come back?
He wasn't coming back for me. It was my first time seeing him. He left before I got here.
Right now, were you around people who were saying, like, Dennis Allen is probably going to end up back with the Saints, I guess is what I'm asking?
I don't think so, because at that time, that was that I wouldn't call it awkward. I'd call it awkward. That awkward transition year of dual D coordinators of, Rob Ryan and Dennis Allen for the first few games. It was
before
awkward.
that, though, when he came back as, like, a senior assistant. I guess my point is, like, I was talking to somebody and they said, as soon as Dennis Allen became available, it kind of seemed a sure thing he'd be back in New Orleans because people in this building
know him,
liked him so much.
Absolutely.
And knew him well, and I didn't know if you'd gotten that sense with other people. But it may have been in the off season, so
yeah, I mean, like I said,
it may be hard to remember that part.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't, because the 2 coordinating things would be, guys in the building had love for him, but that was the older guys, or guys, up top. So for me, it was a new chance to get with the new D coordinator. And clearly, our defense took and have been molded since then to the ways of the 3-4. But no, seriously, when I think about DA coming in, you could see sort of a culture change in the locker room as well. Guys coming in, buying in, doing things the right way, and you see the fruits of the labor on the banners up there.
Any thoughts of this?
That way. That way.
A year after the hurricane, you guys having the lead and all that stuff, it was that week a year ago. What that was like, anything from that time away stick out for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we ended up going to Dallas, but as much as I could say, we were displaced or, in a state of discomfort, we were safe. I didn't have to worry about, if my family's okay. I knew they were already in Dallas with me for a little bit before they took off to Arizona. As long as my family's safe, physical stuff can always get replaced. So I could, I came back, fence was down, there was some ceilings or roofing I had to replace. That's all materialistic things. What was important for me was the family. And, I was more worried about, my neighbors who didn't, who stayed and weathered the storm or whatever it was. But in terms of my close-knit circle, we were good. My teammates were in Dallas working. My family was in the same hotel that I was. So, I was able to focus on what I needed to focus on. If the whole house had been blown down and wiped down, I'd have to start over and be living out of an apartment, but the family would be good. So as long as, like I said, as long as I'm physically able, as long as my family is healthy, I don't have to really worry about much.
Was it pretty seamless for the whole football operation?
We don't have to talk to higher ups for that one. Look, I focus on what I can control, and I knew that we had a plan in place about what we were going to do. And I remember after the storm passed, I flew up the first chance we got to see what was happening. Go grab a car, turn off some lights or whatever, empty a fridge, and then saw some of the devastation when we came through. Just so if you remember what happened on the airline. I mean, the power poles that were out, the street lights that weren't there anymore, some of the houses that were damaged. And it was, at that thought, me and James got together and created a little fund with, was it United Way, and really got things underway. I mean, I'd like to say we want to do so much more, but again, we were focused on trying to win that first week, and I think we did that.
And what was it like just seeing James slide yesterday, moving around like he was?
I mean, look, I believe that there's a plan for everybody, and they've got Jameis on a plan. I don't want to say I don't care about what happens this week or next week, as long as he's there week 1, but I don't care.
I can't kind of in that vein, a lot is made of like first team reps and preseason games. As a veteran player.
From who?
Well, it's always talked about in the preseason.
From who?
Well, the media. Right.
There we go.
Right. Well, that's my point. That's what I'm asking you.
Yeah.
As a veteran player, is getting one series in a preseason game, does that really make a difference to you, or is it?
Sure, it does.
Okay. Well,
For the media.
What is the difference? How does it work for you?
I think it lets the media know what the one's going to look like. Honestly, when it comes down to it, I've seen players come in week 1 and be starters for a team. I've seen them come in week 4 be starters for a team. When your name is called, it doesn't matter what your state is. If you're physically able and mentally willing, let's go get it. I'm more excited about week 1 because I get to see guys flying around with live bullets. I can always speculate how well we do in practice because I think we look great in practice. I think we look phenomenal in practice. But anybody who's watched any football has been like, you guys look great in practice and get to a game and lay eggs. We're not, we're focused on being the best prepared that we can be for week 1.
And Cam, talking about being the best, look defensively, #1 red zone defense, scoring defense, allowing opponents 19.5 points. Is that something that has to continue to even be better than you were last year?
Absolutely. I mean, I think defense wins championships. I could turn on a number of Super Bowls and you can tell me why they won. You can look on the defensive side and say these were the reasons. We want to be the catalyst for winning. We don't want to be something like we're winning in spite of the defense. I think we've proved that over at least the last, let's call it 4 or 5 years. We want to be the main motor, and I think we got a hell of a motor on the offensive side now, in speculation.
Cam, Malcolm was telling us yesterday, working a lot from nose, that those guys kind of overlooked, underappreciated. Just how valuable are those guys in the trenches about what they do?
Man, they're the unheralded defensive heroes. They're guys that are the driving force. I mean, if I can get a great nose push, we can have a lot of pressure off this edge. That's why I always throw in David Onyemata being one of the most underrated D tackles in the game because he creates a lot of havoc in the backfield. Guys like Roach, Shy Tuttle, we bring in Contavious Street, Albert Huggins. I think that we've got a good rotation where we can create some push back there. I think that if we get exactly what we want from them, 3-4 yards in the backfield where a quarterback can't push up, then you have, me coming off the edge, Taco, Tano, Peyton, Marcus Davenport. We've got a plethora of ways where we can create pressure, and it's going to be a beautiful thing if everything works out the way I want it to.
Cam,
Marcus Davenport, can you speak a little bit on
What about him? He's a freak of nature. I've been saying it for 4 or 5 years. You guys didn't catch on until last year. That's on y'all.
Just over the last couple of days with him getting more and more involved in team participation, drills, things like that, what have you seen from him in terms of resilience getting back to that spot?
I mean, this is sort of like what Marcus does, right? He knows how to bounce back. I mean, nothing really holds him back at this point. This is just trusting the process, trusting the plan of him ramping up. I'm not going to say I don't care about. I just want him for week 1.
Cam, are you disappointed?
And 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Yeah.
Are you disappointed that Matt Ryan is no longer in his division, considering all the sacks you've had against him?
No, not at all. I would never be disappointed that a guaranteed meal is not coming. No. Who cares about Thanksgiving? Just everybody.
Damn, Eric
Having a
McCoy
good time
called.
out there today with the music and how was.
The music was flowing. It was definitely a Vegas vibe today. So if you're in Vegas, you either have to buy in or you're not going to have fun. So I'm going to have fun regardless. And I clearly had to buy all the way in. You got to fist pump when it's time to fist pump. You know, the footwork has to be hot. You can lose your rhythm in it. So, you know, I think that's why it's good for everybody.
Eric McCoy called it like his least favorite time of the year because you make friends with some of these guys, and unfortunately, some of them have to go. What advice?
That's his fault for making friends. No. Nobody told him to be that friendly.
Okay.
He's an offensive lineman. He's not supposed to be that friendly.
All right. What advice can you give to the guys on the bubble, I guess?
Man, the idea of being in NFL camp, the idea of being in the NFL is that this is not for long. Eventually, no matter how long you want to play, nobody gets to play forever. Someday, Tom Brady will have to retire. Someday, I'll have to hang the cleats up. Now, whatever capacity that is, you know, however that may fall, it's up to us to give 100% effort. So, for a young guy on a bubble, guy who may not make the team, one of the surprise cuts, if you've been working your derriere off, if you've been putting in that work, if you have shown that you belong, somebody will find you. It's not about this 53-man roster. It's about putting your living resume, as Antonio Brown said it, resume, out there so people understand exactly what you're doing, exactly what you're about. And again, they're going to find, you know, if you may not be a fit, or even if we just run out of space, because we are a team that is talented. If you show that kind of talent, you show that kind of fervor for this job, somebody will find you.
And, how do you think, Dennis Allen, every NFL season has a crisis at some point, major injury?
Why would you say that? Why would you do that? Come on. You know how many quarterbacks we went through last year? This is what do you say?
I'm asking you, how do you think Dennis Allen will handle the first crisis, whenever it occurs?
I mean, you know, not only did he step up and was a head coach for a week or two last year when Sean went down, he's been a head coach before, and we don't hold that against him for being a head coach where he was. You know, I think that was a crisis. So for him to come in and be a part of the Saints where, again, we have trust there. I know him, he knows me, he knows the defense. We know, you know, the defense knows him well. Offense knows him and is getting to know him better. I think that we're going to handle any adverse situations with extreme positivity and the manner in which we need to get the job done. It can't be, since you put it out there, it can't be worse than going through, 58 starters last year? So, as long as we've got our best 11 versus, you know, our best 11s on offense and our best 11 on defense, I'll take that versus anybody. And don't let me mention the special teams. I'll take my best 11 on special teams versus anybody in the league.
Can you explain what the Instagram post was about the
Which one?
shit?
The Fu Manchurian? I'm a self-proclaimed Fu Manchurian. You know, I just feel like I not only am I a soldier, a warrior, a merc for hire, like it just has to rock. So I got a Fu Manchu, but my Fu Manchu has hang time. I'm distinct. There's a lot of guys that be like, yeah, he had a good mustache, and that's nice for the guys playing around in the kiddie pool. Come over to the deep side. You know, there's levels to everything, and I'm clearly ahead of the game. So I feel like the fro may or may not be here by season, but the Fu Manchu will.
Cam, last year you were probably in December. You were joking you weren't going to say nice things about Dennis Allen publicly anymore because some team would hire him away. What made you so sure? What about him made you so sure that some team was going to come try and get him?
I mean, when you had that as much success as a D coordinator as he's had in, let's call it the last 5 or 6 years, you know, top 3 in running defense, top 5 in running defense year in, year out, the resume starts to look real shiny and real good. So somewhere in there is going to throw, you know, one of those offers that you can't pass up on. Luckily, it was us. So I don't have to worry about, you know, why I wasn't going to talk good about him.
How do you feel
We're here.
about those 2 new quarterbacks in our division?
Which ones? I'll say each one has 2 different quarterbacks at their spots, right? I don't know. Did they come out with starters yet? I have not been in Panthers.
Baker.
Okay. We'll deal with them when the time comes. I know we got the Falcons week 1. I'm not saying I'm already looking ahead. But As we look at the offensive line, we know their offensive line well, and Cordero Patterson is a hell of a player. From the time he came in as a All-Pro, Pro Bowl caliber special teamers to now a running back that creates a lot of scheme mismatches. I think they and Kyle Pitts, the way that he's performed and performed to expectations of him being a receiver type, he's created mismatches as well. So I think we're already thinking about how we can go ahead and put ourselves in the best position to win that game.
Yeah, the last few days we've been hearing a lot of "ow" chants.
Wait, one more after him or one more because of him? Sorry.
So what's the story behind that? Is that a 300 reference? What's going on with those chants?
Which ones? There's a lot of chants going on. Yeah, that's a linebacker situation. Okay. That's a very Demario Davis. You have to ask him. Okay. I like the idea because with their Warriors, but 300 didn't. They inspired a lot of people. They didn't survive. Not the movie that I saw. So maybe history was different for the movie. I don't know that far deep. Thanks. Swing. Yeah.
Oh no, jeez. Could have taken a nap.
The 59-yarder, was that something that you asked coach to try, or he was like, get out there, it's a good measuring stick, or what?
Yeah, I mean, that's what preseason's for, I think realistically, game management, you probably don't hit that kick during the season in the first quarter of a game. It's a low percentage kick, but that's what this time of year is for. We had a good wind behind us. I hit the ball well that way in warm-up. And my operation's been outstanding, so I was like, you know what, let's do it. Why not? And fortunately, when I kind of put my confidence out there, they take it, and they let me have it.
Even though you're healthy now, hitting that ball the way you hit it, did that sort of reinforce how you felt about your recovery?
Yeah, I mean, I've felt good all camp. But, the way to get better at this position is to see kicks go in. And so the more kicks go to the uprights, the better. And, I like to say that getting a long one out of the way early makes every kick easier. It makes every kick look shorter. So I think it's always important to put one out there in the preseason.
Well, when you went back and looked at the film on that, how far could you have made it? How long?
We actually don't get that angle. I've heard people say that it had, 6-7 more yards on it. I know I hit it well. We had a favorable wind that way. And so, the bottom line is it went in from 59, so that's what I'll take.
Was it pretty cool to see Coach call a timeout to give you that chance?
Yeah, that was awesome. I didn't want to rush that kick. When I looked up at the clock and there's only about 8 seconds left, I looked over at him, and I think DA and Rizzy kind of understood the strategy there, and I don't think I had to say anything for them to do it. They would have done it anyways. I think going the other way probably wouldn't have kicked it, so they knew how bad I wanted it, so it was good.
Any thoughts after the surgery, hey, will this affect my ability to get distance? Any of that kind of run through your mind?
Well, of course, all that ran through my mind, but, I've been kicking now for 8 weeks or so, and, I've been able to kind of quiet that pretty easily on my own, and that's all that matters is, if I'm able to prove it to myself out in the field and feel good day in and day out, there's no looking back.
Are you looking forward to kicking it all again Friday?
Yeah, man, I'm so excited to get back in there. Last year was tough being away from that stadium. It's the best stadium in the league, and it'll be pretty sweet to get back in there.
What was it like watching Blake's 81-yard play?
Man, that was a missile. Blake's got a freaky talented leg. That's no secret to anybody. So, but like I said last week, this time of year is about building momentum, building confidence in yourself and your operation, and I think the three of us are doing that right now. So I'm happy for all of us.
Well, what's your approach as far as kickoff? I mean, obviously, you're gonna have touchbacks every time. Is there a certain distance that like percentage-wise, that's what you're gonna hit? I mean, like as far as depth, or what is your approach with that?
I mean, it all depends on the returner. Our strategy changes from game to game, so I don't really have a specific answer for that. But we have different styles of kicks that we go into every game with. Game planning off the returner. So Atlanta's got a good one, so I'm sure we'll have a game plan for him. And changes every week.
So which was more impressive, your field goal or Blake's punt?
I think they were both good. Well, ask Blake the same question, see what he says. But I'm happy for both of us. I mean, like I said, it's good to get big balls under our belt there.
It's been a while since you had a chance at the end of the game. Are you really looking forward to? I mean, I guess that's what guys in this league that do what you do live for. Are you looking forward to that?
Yeah, I mean, look, I feel like I've had my best camp here in 7 years, and I'm confident with the way I'm kicking. I don't put any more pressure on myself from kick to kick. I live for those moments. That's why I do what I do. Man, that's why we signed up to be kickers, to have that pressure on us, and whenever that comes, I'll be ready.
So, do you ever develop a relationship at all with Morton Anderson? Do you know him?
Yeah, Morton and I have talked multiple times. He comes back to a lot of games. He lives in Atlanta. I have a lot of respect for Morton, so anytime I see him, I try to pick his brain.
Did you all give a game ball, by the way, to Zach the other day for his first tackle?
No, well, we don't do game balls when we lose, but we got a game ball in the special teams room for him.
Yeah.
He reminded us of that tackle for sure. That's right.
Well, just a quick follow-up on the 59-yarder. You were saying you didn't get the angle. Do you wish there was more technology with like Sunday Night Football? I think does good from 64, even if it was a 58.
Yeah. So actually, I know the TrackMan guy very well, who does the Sunday Night Football, right? Yeah. That's cool technology. But at the end of the day, if he goes in from 30 or 59, it's just I don't really care what it's good from as long as it's good from where I'm kicking. But yeah, I mean that's cool to know. I mean, we do a deal up with my kicking coach Jamie Cole every year, and TrackMan comes out, and we like to have fun with that, so you can get the ball traveling the furthest.
So, health and strength is one thing, but does the form go away at all during rehab, and you have to get that back too, or as soon as you were strong, did you feel like you were kicking exactly the way?
Well, I mean, anytime you don't do something for a long period of time, you got to relearn how to do it. I've been kicking for 15, 16 years now, so fortunately it comes back quicker than most things. But man, once I felt good, it was just a matter of just kind of restarting, going back to the basics, and finding that groove I was on before I got injured. And fortunately, it happened pretty quick. And yeah, like I continue to say, there's not really looking back on any of that. I feel really good.
How much goes into the shoot process?
Yeah. Well, a place, in the Dome, not much. But when you play in a place like Green Bay, Chicago, Pittsburgh, Cleveland, I have a pretty aggressive plant, so I like to wear studs for those games. A lot of guys wear 2 soccer cleats. I'm a guy who wears a football cleat on the left and a soccer cleat on the right. Gives you a little more stability. But other than, the length stud I use on outdoor games, I don't put much weight into it. Whatever I'm comfortable in, I play in.
So how much went into picking that shoe, for example? I mean, there's a bunch of different soccer shoes you can choose too. Are you looking for?
Well, the problem with soccer shoes is they come in every bright color possible. So the first thing is to find a color that I'm allowed to wear. And then I've kicked in Vapors almost my whole career. I wore some Tiempo a few times, but man, really not much goes into it. It's the durability and the weight of them, and they're the lightest cleat in the game right now, so that's why I wear them. Shout out Nike.
Is this one in particular for multiple years, or is this new for this?
I've used this one, since the last time I kicked. So it's been sitting in the locker for a long time, but I rotate them, and probably on an average season I'll wear 2 pair of cleats. I hate breaking in cleats because kickers wear a shoe size a half size too small, just because you want surface area on the ball. So I don't enjoy breaking cleats in, so I try to wear them as long as I can, and then if the coloration goes bad or something tears on, I'll switch them.
What's the process of breaking them in? Is it just wearing them, or do you have other ways to do it? Break them in?
We have some shoe stretchers in the equipment room, but put them on, let your toes bleed for a little bit, and hope they're good by game days.
Well, you ever watched the old film of Tony Fletcher and those guys kicking barefoot?
I've seen pictures of it. I've never seen film of it because it's been that long since guys have done it. I have zero interest in kicking barefoot.
You never even tried it?
No, I've got no interest in kicking barefoot. I stick with shoes. That's what's allowed.
And socks.
Yeah, socks too. All right, cool.
Thanks,
All right, guys.
Thanks, Will.